One of the greatest pleasures of my life is ruined. Thanks, YouTube. Now, if you've been following along with our videos for a while, you might have noticed my veneration of coffee. But it's gotten to the point where we might have to break up. In other words, my level of coffee consumption has become a little too much. If I were to tell you that I have maybe 6-7 coffees per day, I don't know if that's a lot or little. I have decided to take the plunge and cut coffee out of my life, at least for a week. We'll see how it goes. I'm not super excited about this one, but it's probably in everyone's best interests. Yeah, we'll see how that goes, and I'll keep you updated. All right, so we're at the end of day one. To my surprise, I am still alive and functioning. I will say though, I did get the afternoon slump, kind of like a, I could really go for a nap right now. And we couldn't remedy it with the coffee. So I tried all sorts of things. I tried hot chocolate, didn't really help much at all. And then a cup of black tea, which I know has caffeine in it, but significantly less than coffee. You know, it's just been a chill day, productive. Right now, I don't feel like my life would be super affected by a lack of caffeine. Will this continue on to day 2? Is it going to get really bad? Am I going to start shaking in a few hours? I don't know. You're just going to have to stay tuned and find out. Good morning on day 2 of no coffee drinking. I'll be honest, I woke up this morning and my first reaction was, gotta make a cup of coffee. And then my spirits kind of sank when I remembered I can't. Made myself a pot of tea, which I'm slowly sipping on, and from an energetic perspective, it's okay, but it's not the same. I mean, let's be real. Tea is just like flavored water. And I get it, coffee is just as much flavored water, but it's not the same. So I don't know, not getting the same amount of delight from the tea, but at the same time, I wouldn't say that my life is falling down around me. Day 3 of no coffee. To commemorate this day, I have made what is essentially a small bucket's worth of tea. I did some research and found that the average cup contains approximately 95 milligrams of caffeine, while the average cup of tea contains about half of that, 47 milligrams of caffeine. But of course, up to 90, depending on how it's steeped. So from what I gathered, the longer you steep the tea bag in the water and the tea in the tea bag and the longer the tea is steeped, the more potent it gets. So kind of difficult to gauge how much that would be. But then again, this bucket's worth here, I would say, is at least 2 cups, which brings us up to the caffeine content of a regular coffee. So I do understand the pointlessness of this effort. I definitely still do miss coffee, though I really like the feeling of the lowered stress levels in general. I'm still unsure if it is worth cutting out coffee entirely. Hello everyone. This is a very exciting moment. I have got my hands on some decaf coffee beans and I have made myself a little personal-sized French press. Figured we'd give it a try together and see if it's everything that I hope it will be. Because if I'm honest, I think that what I miss right now most from coffee is the flavor and the smell. So let's go for it. Smells coffee-ish. Ugh. Sour and bitter at the same time, but not in the sour and bitterness of coffee that you enjoy. Maybe you need 2 sips. It's like wine tasting. I can't tell if this is actually what coffee tastes like, and I've just forgotten over the past 3 days of not having coffee. But this isn't particularly enjoyable. And I I've come to additional conclusions about the effect of not drinking coffee. There really is a lower amount of stress, which is certainly in correlation with the lowered amount of cortisol that is produced by those stimulated adrenal glands from the caffeine. That being said, when I had that decaf coffee in the afternoon, afterwards I did feel tired, like in the mood for a nap, which was solved by a cup of black tea. And what I've come to the conclusion is that, first of all, decaf coffee is disgusting. And second of all, that it doesn't, in terms of an energy perspective, equal tea. I will say I still really miss the flavor and taste of coffee. Now, originally I thought that this would just be a 1 week thing, but then we were talking with the director of these lovely videos that 1 week is too easy. So this stretched into a 2 week event. So let me fill you in on what's been going on. The weekend has passed, coffeeless. I can't imagine the last time there was a weekend in my life without a coffee. I'm starting to get the hang of the tea thing. It's not that bad, I guess. But generally, overall, I'm feeling so great. Definitely less stress, less anxiety from previous coffee drinking times. So there might be something to this whole tea thing. In another day without coffee, and I'm not happy about it. It's fine. It's fine. And yes, I do feel better without the coffee, but I still really want a coffee. And I don't know what to do about it. It really is a toss-up. It's a dilemma, because on one side you know that it's better for your health without it, but at the same time, it's just something you want. It's Tuesday now, and I am really looking forward to that first cup of coffee, whenever it may be. Hello everyone, we are on day 13. That means it's the second to last day of this no coffee drinking experiment. And I have some exciting news. I took a look at my productivity levels, and indeed I noticed that if I usually did have a visible afternoon slump, that slump wasn't there anymore over these past 2 weeks. So I can definitively say that quitting coffee has been good for my productivity. Considering that, I also asked my team if they have noticed any differences. So their responses were that I seem happier, that I seem more calm, and that the happiness might be a result of that increased calmness. Well, another colleague said that he saw absolutely no difference. YOLO. And then another teammate said that she also wants to reduce her coffee intake. Maybe we can all do this together. I can say that I have craved coffee every single day. I don't know if it's the habit or it's a chemical reaction, but every single day that first thought in the morning is, I really wish I could grab a coffee. I know that it's better for me. The data has shown me, the people around me tell me that I seem happier and more chill. That's all good stuff. At the same time, I still really find myself wanting that coffee. So what are you gonna do? I don't know. We'll see. Hey everyone, I quickly have to tell you about DeskTime, without whom we wouldn't have this channel and this video. So DeskTime is a time tracking and productivity software where you can get real-time data about how you're spending your time on your computer, as well as other people in your organization. Sign up below for the free trial and use the promo code for very sweet deals. Check it out. We've made it. It has been 2 full weeks since I have last had a sip of coffee, of that delicious sludge that keeps you living. As you might have been able to tell, I am very excited for this experiment to end. It has had a lot of benefits. At the same time, I still really miss coffee, and I can't wait to at least give it a try. That being said, what are some general takeaways from this time? I'm most surprised that there weren't really any negative side effects. After being such an avid coffee drinker, like minimum 6, 7, 8 coffees per day, I would have thought that there would be some sort of physical reaction. Could explain the lack of those side effects by the fact that I was still having caffeine. I had tea. Speaking to other people who have ditched coffee in favor for tea, they have reported having crazy headaches and have had to revert back to coffee because of them. Learning points were that it is absolutely doable. I still find coffee more pleasurable. And as we recognized, the productivity levels as well. There were a lot of benefits, but at the same time, maybe those same benefits can be gained just by reducing the amount of coffee. That is, I guess, what I'm going to try to strive for in the future. Now that this 2-week experiment of no coffee has ended, I am going to finally have a sip of coffee. A little crema on top. This is my typical black coffee. It's kind of bitter. Really bitter. Well, there you have it. You can still love coffee, but I guess taste buds do change. Hello everyone! I was not planning on making this recap. We are 2 weeks after the end of the experiment, so a month from the very beginning of it, and I have shocking news. And that news is I'm still not drinking coffee. Oh my god, who would have thought? So the last clip you saw was me sipping my first cup of coffee after the 2 weeks of nothing and thinking like, ew, it's kind of bitter. And at the time I thought, it's just, my taste buds haven't adjusted back yet. So, I kept on having a few coffees every once in a while because I have this in my mind of this, the reminder of the memory of how delicious I used to think coffee was, and I wanted that feeling and that memory of flavor. And so every once in a while I'd make myself a coffee and I would have that exact same response. Like, it's kind of bitter and, not that enjoyable. Since we also know that, technically I do better without the coffee, it was kind of like, all right, I'm not going to push this thing. But I am absolutely shocked. Like, I broke coffee for myself. What have I done? Okay, it's 2 weeks of not wanting coffee, but 1 month of not really having coffee. Now, I do understand that perhaps my at-home coffee might not be as delicious and tasty as, say, for example, if I were to go to a specialty coffee shop or an espresso shop. I don't want to pay $5 for a coffee every single time. Even like my go-to home French press coffee isn't doing it for me. It's just kind of, man, it destroys the love of the process and the flavor and the everything. So be warned, if you try this experiment, be prepared that you might not ever want coffee again. Which is kind of sad when you think about it. Definitely one of the best things of my life that I've ruined. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and be careful if you try this out on your own as well, and definitely give us a comment below if you have experienced anything like that as well, or also let me know if you think I'm being crazy. Either or. Excuse me as I go back to my tea. Bye guys. Okay, let me rate so far my top teas that I've had so far. So, number 1 tea, Earl Grey. Loose leaf Earl Grey, hands down, the best flavor, and it gave like a good amount of pep. Next up would be oolong. I have some oolong here. Oolong, also loose leaf. Oolong is a half fermented tea leaf. Because both green tea and black tea is made of the same tea leaf. Same with oolong, it's just halfway between green and black. And it's in these like little kind of like shriveled up kind of little balls, if you can see that. And it smells really good. Oh, love it. And then I would have to give green tea the next spot and then regular black tea after that. I've had a few others like winter warming teas with like cinnamon and, oh, that was the rooibos. We looked up the pronunciation yesterday and I can't remember what it was. Rooibos. Did I get it? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, first place, Earl Grey, loose leaf. Come at me. And the absolute worst was decaf coffee.